For 70 years, the British monarchy felt like a fixed star in a rapidly changing world. Queen Elizabeth II was its constant, a symbol of unwavering tradition. Her reign was defined by its consistency, its quiet refusal to bend to the whims of the modern age. But since her passing, a new era has begun. And while many were watching for grand, sweeping reforms, King Charles III has been quietly reshaping the monarchy from the inside out. These aren't loud, revolutionary changes. You won't see torn-down palace walls or discarded crowns. Instead, the king is undertaking a careful and deliberate evolution. It's a series of subtle shifts and quiet renovations to age-old traditions that, when you look at them together, reveal a clear departure from his mother's iconic style. This has been his plan for decades, a gradual recalibration of one of the world's oldest institutions. Let's explore these small but significant adjustments that are speaking volumes about the future of the British crown. The first and most visible sign of this new Caroline era came with the king's coronation in May 2023. At first glance, it was an event steeped in 1,000 years of history, but the details told a different story, one of intentional modernization. The biggest giveaway? The sheer scale of it. Queen Elizabeth II's coronation back in 1953 was a grand, imperial spectacle. It was a broadcast event designed to project British power in a post-war world. Westminster Abbey was packed with over 8,200 guests. Afterwards, the young queen took part in a 5-mile procession through London, a journey that took 2 hours just so as many people as possible could see the pageantry. It was the monarchy at its most majestic. King Charles' coronation, by contrast, was a deliberately smaller affair. The guest list was dramatically shorter, with about 2,200 people filling the abbey. The procession route was a much tighter 1.4 miles, a practical adjustment that also carried huge symbolic weight. This wasn't just about logistics. It was a visual statement of Charles' long-held vision for a slimmed-down monarchy. Scaling back the event was a conscious choice, meant to reflect a more modern Britain and to acknowledge the economic realities faced by its people. The service itself was also shorter, running for about 2 hours compared to the nearly 3-hour ceremony for his mother. By trimming the guest list, shortening the route, and condensing the ceremony, Charles sent a clear message. Under his leadership, the monarchy would be less about extravagant spectacle and more about focused, meaningful representation. Beyond the size of the ceremony, the content of the coronation itself revealed one of the most profound shifts. For centuries, the coronation has been an exclusively Anglican Christian service, cementing the monarch's role as the supreme governor of the Church of England. King Charles reaffirmed this ancient duty, but he also opened the door to a more inclusive spiritual landscape. For the very first time in British history, leaders from other faith traditions were given an active, formal role in the coronation. Peers from the Jewish, Hindu, Sikh, and Muslim faiths participated in the ceremony. And in another unprecedented moment at the service's conclusion, a group of faith leaders delivered a collective greeting to the newly crowned king. This was the culmination of Charles's decades-long interest in interfaith dialogue. But maybe the most personal change came from the king himself. After swearing the traditional oath to uphold the Protestant religion, he paused and offered a quiet, personal prayer, asking to be a blessing to all, of every faith and belief. This wasn't a replacement of his constitutional role, but a personal addition that expanded the monarch's duty to all his people, no matter their creed. This spirit of inclusivity was also behind the decision to replace the ancient homage of peers, where aristocrats would kneel to swear fealty. Instead, we saw the homage of the people, an invitation for everyone in the UK and Commonwealth to offer their support. It was a symbolic pivot from a feudal hierarchy to a more modern idea of public consent. These weren't just cosmetic tweaks. They were foundational changes redefining the monarchy's relationship with the diverse nation it serves. For over 50 years, King Charles has been a vocal champion for the environment, often facing skepticism for his early warnings about climate change and plastic pollution. What was once seen as a princely hobby is now being quietly woven into the fabric of his reign, making sustainability a core theme of his monarchy. This was on subtle display during the coronation. Queen Camilla's coronation gown was an ivory dress she had worn before, elegantly refitted for the day. a big contrast to the tradition of commissioning lavish new garments. The historic chairs used in the ceremony were restored for reuse. Even the anointing oil, while consecrated in Jerusalem, was made with olives from the Mount of Olives and was certified cruelty-free. These small choices were powerful statements aligning an ancient ceremony with modern values. This emphasis is a distinct departure from his mother's reign. While Queen Elizabeth II was known for her personal frugality, sustainability was never the central, public-facing brand of her monarchy in the way it's becoming for Charles. He isn't just practicing sustainability, he's branding the monarchy with it. His efforts go beyond ceremony, too. He launched the Coronation Food Project, an initiative designed to tackle both food waste and food insecurity. Plans were announced to install solar panels at Sandringham, and the royal family's financial reports now list environmental sustainability as a key priority. It's a clear signal that the king is using his new platform to elevate his lifelong cause from a personal passion to an institutional principle. He's not just the head of state. He's determined to be the Green King. Long before he took the throne, one of King Charles's most talked-about ambitions was his desire for a slimmed-down monarchy. The vision was for a more modern, cost-effective institution, with a smaller core of senior working royals. He believed this would be more palatable to the public and would focus the crown's efforts where they mattered most. For years, this was just a concept. But the path to achieving it was unexpectedly and dramatically accelerated. Now, while these events weren't part of some grand strategy orchestrated by Charles, they created the perfect conditions for his long-held vision to become a reality. Instead of fighting to maintain the old way, the king has adapted to these changes, embracing the smaller structure they left behind. Today, the public face of the monarchy is a much tighter group. It centers on the king and queen, the prince and princess of Wales, the princess royal, and the duke and duchess of Edinburgh. This smaller group now handles the bulk of public engagements. You can really see this change on the Buckingham Palace balcony during events like Trooping the Colour. The crowd of extended family members from Queen Elizabeth's time has been replaced by this core group of working royals. It's a monarchy that looks less like a sprawling dynasty and more like a focused, modern family business. The quiet revolution under King Charles extends right into the structure of the royal household itself. Some of the most archaic traditions are being subtly replaced with more modern arrangements. A clear example is the change Queen Camilla made with her attendants. For centuries, queens have been served by ladies-in-waiting, typically aristocratic women who acted as personal assistants and companions. It was a system that felt, well, a bit dated. Shortly after becoming queen consort, Camilla did away with this tradition. Instead of ladies-in-waiting, she appointed 6 queen's companions. This might sound like a simple name change, but it's a significant shift. The new role is more informal. The companions are close friends who support her at key events, but they aren't involved in daily admin or correspondence. They don't receive a salary and are there to provide support and friendship, not to be courtiers. It signals a deliberate move away from a rigid court structure toward a more personal support system. Other small changes are also noticeable. Queen Elizabeth II famously cherished her time at Sandringham, traditionally staying until after the anniversary of her father's death on February 6. King Charles, in contrast, has been observed returning to his duties in London much earlier in the year. While this may just be a matter of personal preference, it subtly alters the established royal calendar. Together, these adjustments contribute to the sense of a monarchy that is quietly, but firmly, stepping into the present day. Perhaps the most profound change of all is simply one of tone. Queen Elizabeth's reign was defined by a majestic reserve. She was a master of neutrality, a monarch who remained famously unknowable. Her public persona was one of unwavering stoicism. She was more institution than individual. King Charles, on the other hand, is proving to be a more open and approachable monarch. This isn't an abandonment of decorum, but a significant relaxation of the formal distance his mother so carefully maintained. He's often seen shaking hands, engaging in spontaneous conversations, and even tolerating the occasional selfie, a practice once strictly against protocol. He seems more at ease with physical contact, from accepting a kiss on the cheek to offering a hug to a member of the public. This move toward transparency became starkly clear with his health. In early 2024, the palace announced the king had been diagnosed with cancer. While specifics were kept private, the decision to publicly disclose the diagnosis was a revolutionary act of openness for the monarchy. It stood in sharp contrast to the veil of secrecy around the health of previous monarchs, like his grandfather King George VI. Charles' aim was to prevent speculation and use his position to encourage public health awareness. We saw this new, pragmatic approach again at the 2024 Trooping the Color. While undergoing treatment, the king was unable to ride on horseback, as is tradition. Instead of withdrawing, he made a practical adaptation, reviewing the troops from a carriage. This wasn't a dramatic break. Other monarchs have used carriages before, but it perfectly encapsulated his style, honoring the duty while making sensible adjustments for the reality of his situation. He's presenting a new model of monarchy, one that is still regal, but also undeniably human. The reign of King Charles III isn't one of revolution, but of quiet, deliberate evolution. He isn't dismantling the institution he inherited, he's carefully renovating it. Through a series of subtle but significant changes, a smaller coronation, a more inclusive approach to faith, a clear emphasis on sustainability, a slimmer firm, and a more personal, human touch, he is carefully steering the monarchy away from the imperial grandeur of the past. He seems to be laying the groundwork for a crown that is less remote and more relatable, less formal and more in tune with contemporary Britain. Queen Elizabeth II's legacy was one of steadfast continuity. King Charles' legacy, it seems, will be one of thoughtful adaptation, proving that even a 1,000-year-old institution can change with the times. The question is no longer if the monarchy will survive, but what it will look like in the decades to come. And the answers are being written in these quiet, yet powerful, whispers of change. What do you think of these changes? Are they a necessary evolution for a modern monarchy, or a departure from valuable tradition? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this insightful, be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the ever-changing world of the British royal family.